Hello, Year 2, how are you? And welcome to today's phonics lesson. So today we are going to be carrying on with our work on the suffix -er. Remember last lesson, we looked at how we can add the suffix -er to change a verb, like teach, into a noun, teacher. Fantastic, well done if you can remember that. Now, before we do that, before we find out what else we can do with the suffix -er, we are going to do Are You Ready? So can you shout the sounds nice and loudly to your screen? Fantastic. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, Year 2, we're going to stop here. What sound does this grapheme make? Yes, that's right. It's our sound I, isn't it? Our split digraph I, like in the word kite. I, kite. Fantastic. Well done. Let's carry on. Oh, let's stop here as well. What sound does this grapheme make? Yes, that's right. It makes the ow sound, doesn't it? Like in the word cloud. Ow, d, cloud. Fantastic, Year 2. Now let's do the last few sounds. Brilliant. I could hear you all the way from here again, Year 2. You really know your sounds. I am so impressed. Now, today, as I said, we're going to be looking at what else we can do with the suffix -er. But before we do that, I would like to recap on what we've already done. So what you looked at yesterday in the lesson. So here you have 4 sentences, and each sentence has a verb which is underlined, and you need to change the verb into a noun. So the first one, Bruce plays for his local rounders team. He is a brilliant catch. So catch is the verb. Number 2, she has a very fast run. So run is the verb, and you need to change that into a noun. My grandma is a worry. So to worry is the verb, and you need to change that into a noun. And number 4, I'm a great help. So to help is the verb, and you need to again change that into a noun. So pause the video now and have a go. Okay, Year 2, so let's see how you got on. Now the first one, here's a brilliant catch. Now, does this word end in an E? No, it doesn't, does it? Does it end in a Y? No, it doesn't end in a Y either. Does it end in a single vowel sound and a consonant? Well, no, it ends in 2 consonants, a C and an H. So therefore, we don't need to follow any of these rules. We just need to add the suffix -er to make catcher. He is a brilliant catcher, which means he can catch the ball very well. Now, number 2, she is a very fast runner. Now, does our word end in a Y? No. Does it end in an E? No, but it does end in a single vowel sound, U. Remember our vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. And then it's followed by the single vowel sound is followed by the consonant N. So therefore, what do we need to do if it ends, a word ends in a single vowel sound and a consonant? Yes, that's right. We have to double the consonant, which will give us the noun runner. So she is a very fast runner. Now, what do you notice about the verb in number 3, the verb to worry? Yes, that's right. It ends in a Y. So what do we need to do if it ends in a Y? Yes, that's right. We need to change the Y to an I before adding the suffix -er to give us the noun worrier. My grandma is a worrier. Now, number 4, I'm a great help. So let's have a look. Does it end in a Y? No. Does it end in an E? No, it doesn't end in an E either. Does it end in a single vowel sound and a consonant? No, it doesn't either. So therefore, we don't need to follow any of these rules. We just need to add the suffix -er to give the noun helper. I am a great helper. Brilliant. Well done, Year 2. That's fantastic that you've remembered all of that from last lesson. Now, if you struggled with this, you can always go back and watch the last lesson and then try and complete this activity again. Right, so let's now move on to today's learning. Here we go. So last lesson, we created nouns from verbs by adding the suffix -er. Now today, we're going to be changing adjectives to comparative adjectives using the suffix er. Can you remember we changed adjectives to superlative adjectives with the suffix est? Well, that was to compare 3 or more objects, wasn't it? But if we compare using a comparative adjective, then we're only comparing 2 objects. So we're going to change some adjectives to comparative adjectives by adding the suffix er. And by doing this, we will be comparing just 2 objects. Okay, comparative adjectives only compare 2 objects. So let's have a look at the example. Now, with the example I've given, you're not going to have to change the word at all. We have the base word or the adjective loud, and then the suffix er. Okay, so I've added the suffix er to my adjective or base word loud to give the word louder, the comparative adjective louder. So you could say Tim is louder than Kelly. Okay, Tim is louder than Kelly. So there are only 2 people that you are comparing, and you are saying that Tim is louder out of the 2. Or you can say that Kelly is quieter than Tim. There you go, you've got it the other way round. Let's look at another one. So we've got the base word or the adjective slow, and again, we won't need to change these for these examples, okay? These are ones where you don't have to follow any of the rules. So we've got slow, which is our base word or our adjective. And to make it a comparative adjective, we just have to add the suffix er to give slower. Okay, so here you've got 2 sentences. 3 scoops of ice cream are taller than 1 scoop, and my dress is plainer than yours. Now what you need to do is find the adjectives in these sentences and change them to comparative adjectives. Okay, so let's work together to find the adjectives to make it a little bit easier for you. So 3 scoops of ice cream are taller than 1 scoop. Where's the adjective there? Yes, that's right, it's tall, isn't it? It's describing the ice cream. It's telling us that the ice cream is tall. Now, what about the second one? My dress is plainer than yours. Yes, that's right. Plain is the adjective, isn't it? Because it's describing the dress. So therefore, that's the adjective that we need to change into comparative adjective. So pause the video now and have a go at changing these adjectives in the sentence to comparative adjectives. Okay, year 2, so let's see how you got on. So the first one, 3 scoops of ice cream are taller than 1 scoop. Well, tall is our adjective or our base word, and all we need to do is add the suffix er. Okay, my dress is plainer than yours. Well, again, plain is our adjective or base word, so all we need to do is add the suffix er to make it a comparative adjective. So plainer. Fantastic. Well done if you got those right. Now, the last couple, we didn't have to follow any rules, but from now on, all of the words, well, most of the words, you're going to have to follow one of the 4 rules. Okay, so when the word ends in an E, when the word ends in an A, when a word ends in a single vowel and a consonant, and then words with more syllables. Now, can you pause the video and have a think what you need to do in each of these situations? So when a word ends in an E, when a word ends in a Y, when a word ends in a single vowel and a consonant, or if a word has more syllables. Okay, so pause the video now and have a think. Okay, year 2, let's see how much you remembered about the rules. So the first one, when the word ends in an E, yes, you're right, you drop the E and add the suffix. Like the word cute, you drop the E off cute and you'd add the suffix er to make sure that you don't have 2 E's, you only have 1. Now, number 2, when the word ends in a Y, what do you need to do? Yes, that's right, you need to change the Y to an I and add the suffix. So like pretty, you change the Y to an I and add the suffix to make prettier. When a word ends in a single vowel and a consonant, what do you need to do then? Remember, your single vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. Yes, that's right, you need to double the consonant before adding the suffix. Well done. Now, what about words with more syllables? What do you think? What did we do to change them to superlative adjectives? Yes, we added the word most before instead of the suffix. Now, you don't add the same word for comparative adjectives. So for superlative adjectives, you add most. What do you think you add for comparative adjectives? Brilliant. You add the word more. So you can say, my book is more interesting than yours. Okay, so you're comparing the 2 books. There aren't 3 books, there are only 2. So now let's see if you can apply these rules now that you've remembered them to some different words to create some comparative adjectives. Here you go. So here are 6 words. Now we're going to do the first 2 together, and then I'm going to leave you to do the last 4, okay? So the first one, funny. Now what do you notice about this adjective? Yes, that's right, it ends in a Y. So therefore, what do we need to do if an adjective ends in a Y? Yes, we need to change the Y to an I before adding the suffix to give us the word funnier. And number 2, wise. What do you notice about this word? Yes, that's right, it ends in an E. Now what do we need to do if an adjective ends in an E? Yes, we need to drop the E before adding the suffix, which gives us wiser, the comparative adjective wiser. Now, I'd like you to pause the video now and have a go at changing these adjectives into comparative adjectives. There are 4 words: interesting, cute, hot, and tasty. Okay, pause the video now and have a go. Okay, year 2, so let's see how you got on. Well, we've got the word interesting. Now that's quite a long word, isn't it? So do we think it's got quite a lot of syllables? Shall we clap them? 3, 2, 1, interesting. Oh, there we go, it's got 3. So therefore we don't add the suffix do we? What did I say we had to add before? Yes, that's right, more interesting. Now number 4, cute. What do you notice about this one? Yes, that's right, it ends in an E. So therefore we need to drop the E before adding the suffix to give us the comparative adjective cute. And number 5, we've got the word hot. Okay, now what do you notice about this word? Well, it ends in a consonant, doesn't it? The consonant T. And it's got a single vowel sound before it. An O. Remember, our vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. So therefore, if it ends in a single vowel sound and a consonant, we need to double the consonant before adding the suffix to give us the comparative adjective. The last one, tasty. What do you notice about this adjective? Yes, that's right, it ends in a Y. So therefore, we need to change the Y to an I before adding the suffix to give us the word tastier. Fantastic, year 2. Well done if you got those right. You've really remembered those rules, and we'll keep practicing, don't worry. Now, can you think of a sentence using a comparative adjective? So here we've got 2 pictures. We've got one of a giraffe and one of a dog. So we're going to need a comparative adjective because there are only 2 animals. There are not 3 or 4 or 5, there are only 2. So can you pause the video and have a little think? How could you compare these 2 animals? Okay, should we see what I thought of? So I thought you could use the comparative adjective small. So you've got the base word, small, the adjective, and you don't need to follow any of the rules here because it doesn't end in a Y, it doesn't end in an E, and it doesn't end in a single vowel and a consonant. So therefore you just add the suffix to give the word smaller. So you could say the dog is smaller than the giraffe, but you could also say that the giraffe is taller than the dog. Now, what else did I think of? Oh, I thought of the comparative adjective cuter. So you could say that the dog is cuter than the giraffe, or the giraffe is cuter than the dog. Okay, now with this one, because it's cute and it ends in an E, I had to drop the E before I added the suffix Then lastly, I've got friendlier. Okay, so friendlier, it ends in a Y. Friendly ends in a Y. So therefore I had to change the Y to an I before adding the suffix to make friendlier. So you could say the giraffe is friendlier than the dog, or the dog is friendlier than the giraffe. Okay, now on your worksheet, which is called Year 2 Phonics, 19th of January, Resource 1, you have some pictures. You've got some 2 pictures of 2 cars, you've got a picture of a strawberry and some chocolate, and you've got another one as well. What you need to do is write some sentences that include some comparative adjectives to compare the 2 pictures in each one, okay? And at the bottom, I have put an adjective word bank, which gives you lots of different adjectives that you can use. If you're struggling to think of an adjective to change it into a comparative adjective for a sentence, just have a look at the word bank and it might give you some ideas. Okay, so you need to decide which comparative adjective you're going to use for that sentence, or you can maybe create 2 sentences for each one and then write it in a sentence. So like I did, the giraffe is taller than the dog. Now, before you do that, we are going to look at some exceptions. So remember last time when we looked at superlative adjectives? Good, changed to best, didn't it? It's the best day of my life. And bad changed to worst. It's the worst day of my life. Well, for comparative adjectives, good turns to better. So I've had so you could say today is a better day than yesterday. And bad can change to worse. So today is a worse day than yesterday. Okay, so there you go. There are 2 exceptions that you can maybe use in your sentences. Who knows? So if you go off now and write your sentences for the different pictures, that'd be excellent. And I'll see you in our next phonics lesson, year 2. Bye.